So this is Julio, and he's graciously agreed to talk about his beliefs, what happens after this life. So
Sure.
So what do you think? We could talk to each other. We don't have to talk to
Okay.
the camera.
I was
yeah.
okay. So, well, pretty much, I'm sort of a believer. I don't consider myself a Christian or Catholic or anything.
Uh-huh.
I also think it's I'm not an atheist either. But I got my obviously my man. I'm very how do you describe that? Rational person.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I look for evidence for whatever I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So obviously religion doesn't show a lot of evidence when it comes to what happens after death, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've been in my own soul searching. I've been kind of discovering the fact that we are energy. We pass through a different dimension.
Uh-huh.
I don't know exactly what we're gonna find, but sometimes I kind of feel that way. It's like I don't believe in heaven or hell or any of that kind of punishments or anything.
Yeah.
It's just in my opinion. We move to a different dimension,
Uh-huh.
and we become energy. We become something else. Maybe we get reunited with the energy that preceded us.
Uh-huh.
Our loved ones who
Yeah.
part before us. So I'm still in the process.
Sure.
Yeah.
Julio, did you grow up with a
I grew up.
religious?
I was raised Catholic.
Uh-huh.
I kind of gave it up because I didn't agree with so many of the teachings.
Yeah.
Basically, what actually happens in the Catholic Church
Uh-huh.
currently, with all the scandals and all the abuse for the kids and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's
It's easy.
that's very
It's easy to start
disheartening.
questioning, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, my upbringing was Catholic pretty much.
Yeah.
But I've studied a lot about Jewism and Muslims and stuff. So
Yeah.
I think pretty much every religion goes to the same place with a different name.
Yeah. Okay. So would you say you believe in God or?
I would
A
say
higher
yeah.
power?
I would say yeah. I don't like to call it God
Yeah.
because it's a very misused word.
Yeah.
But I think there's some sort of like a superior energy that created the whole thing. I would
Okay.
say, yeah.
So it sounds like you believe that when you die, that like your energy changes forms, or
Mhm.
maybe would you think that you'll have any kind of consciousness? Like, will
Definitely.
Julio be Julio
Sure.
after you die?
Definitely,
Or
yeah. I wouldn't be in this body.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call my name Julio,
right?
but I would be, definitely myself. My essence, I would say, my soul,
Uh-huh.
if I can call it that way,
Yeah.
I would be that.
So you feel like maybe this life would have an effect on where you go or what
Um,
happens to you after you
Yeah,
die?
for sure. Yeah, not exactly as a consequence, as a punishment that if I've done something right here, I'm gonna, earn heaven, or if I do something wrong here, I'm gonna, go to hell.
Yeah.
Not in that traditional way.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I would think is, I came here to learn,
Uh-huh.
to grow, pretty
Okay.
much.
Yeah.
Me as a soul, as an essence, as an energy. I think I'm going through this life to evolve, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you feel like it almost, it sounds like you have a purpose in life, right? To
Yeah,
grow or
yeah.
to learn.
Yeah, to grow, to learn.
Yeah.
To evolve, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. And you feel like you had a life before this one,
I'm not sure. I've been researching about reincarnation stuff.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of past lives and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I've never felt like any kind of connection, or I don't have any memories about any
Yeah,
previous
yeah.
lives or anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to think maybe I was a sailor,
Yeah, sure.
in a different life, or I was something else because I get attracted to different things that I've never been like really close, like let's say the ocean. I love the ocean, the water and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
and there's like maybe I was, who knows?
Right. So it sounds like you have kind of a mixture of belief in. It's almost like sounds like karma. If you're familiar with karma,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
there's like kind of what goes around comes around, like,
exactly, yeah.
and then also possibility of reincarnation, or
Yeah, could be.
so let me ask you this. I know the Catholic Church is has had gone through struggles and stuff. My church is not Catholic; it's Protestant. But would you say that is it possible to kind of look at the Christian faith without all that, and just say, okay, well, the basic biblical faith, you know, because there's a lot of baggage, you know, like history has, you know, a lot of bad things have happened in history, and so we could say, well, we wouldn't believe in it because of, say, something like the Crusades, for example,
right, exactly.
So, would you feel like there's anything in the basic Christian message, Jesus' message, that you would reject, that would cause that you know, you to reject the Christian faith and look for answers elsewhere, or is it?
The main problem is, you know, the way the Jesus teaching had been portrayed, you know, across history. You know, all this, you know, manipulation of his message, I guess, somehow has become, you know, a problem with so many of us who believe in, you know, humankind and love and kindness and stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, being, you know, but, you know, there's so many things that go around, especially when, you know, some powerful people that they claim themselves to be very, you know, religious, and they are ripping everybody off.
Okay.
So that's the problem. If you ask me, my understanding of Jesus is not, I don't even think he's the Son of God, because I am a Son of God, you are too, and we are all the same. I think he was just a prophet. He was an enlightened person, and he was on point on so many things, but his teachings have been lost, I guess, in translation, and history, and a bunch of, you know, crap.
So, like, if you were to read the Bible, do you feel like you're not getting Jesus' message from that?
I was, maybe, I don't know. I've read the Bible, like, you know, obviously when I was a kid and stuff, but the way they put the Bible in my mind was completely different. It was more like a doctrine. You know, you gotta learn it, you gotta follow these rules. Otherwise, you're gonna be, you know, bad or go to hell. Yeah. So I don't like that coercion. You know. Yeah. You feel pretty much, you know, pushed towards. So in my view, it's a great philosophical book. However, since what I've read is also has been edited, you know, so there are so many things that got out of it. Yeah. That makes me wonder why, you know, because all the agnostics, gospels, they've been, you know, erased from that. And I think, and they also needed to be, you know, told, and, you know, so people would, you know, evaluate what to believe or not. Right. Yeah. So that's pretty much my view, you know, when it comes to, I mean, traditional religions, I guess.
I'm with you as far as, like, Jesus actually predicted this would happen. He said, "Many will come in my name," you know, preaching in my name, basically, like, claiming to preach his message. Right. And he said, "Well, I don't even know them. You know, like they don't represent me." And so, you know, like, it's very true that many have come, kind of like, you know, like if someone's popular, like, people kind of like ride their coattails, and they preach, they try to say that they're with him when they're really, like you say, like trying to make money from it or trying to get political power from it. You know. So people are being, you know, like, misled by Christ's message. So, you know, it would be interesting to find out if, like, can we know his original message to begin with, in order to say, okay, well, how have they changed it? You know, because one thing that I'm wondering about is, do you think that, so Jesus claimed to represent God, whether he's, you know, like,
exactly, I mean, you know, like I'm the Son of God, and you, all this, you know, idea of you could only go through God to go through me. Yeah. You're like, okay, what exactly does that mean? Am I supposed to believe all that you think? Because here's my problem with, you know, regular religion. So with people that is very religious, specifically about, you know, Christ and, you know, his teachings. is the fact that, okay, what happened before Jesus? You know, all these people, you know, who believe in different kind of gods and stuff.
Yeah.
So are they sinners? Are they, you know, were they wrong? I
Yeah.
mean, what about people who never heard about, you know, Jesus or God or anything? You know, all the, you know, Native Americans. So I'm Mexican. So all the, you know, Aztecs and a lot of people, they
Yeah.
were very religious, very spiritual. However, I mean, in the eyes of, you know, the Catholics or Christians, they were sinners because
Yeah.
they couldn't believe in the same God.
Yeah.
So that's my problem. It's like, okay,
So it's the exclusiveness of
exactly
of Jesus'
So,
message.
or either you believe what I tell you to believe, or you are wrong.
Yeah.
So that's the main problem that I have with established religions. You know, like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
So and there's a song you might not even know. It's in Spanish and it's called, "So you don't have to read the Bible. You just need to practice it." And the main word is love. I mean, as long as you love,
Yeah.
because Jesus, he actually, the name of the song is some sort of like Jesus is not a person.
Uh-huh.
It's not a noun. It's a verb.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and that
He's
verb
an
is
action.
love.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a verb. So you should practice Jesus. You don't have to love him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I can. So, I mean, obviously, so I'm a Christian, and so like I do believe Jesus is the Son of God.
Okay.
And it's okay to disagree.
Of course. Yeah. I completely.
So-
I
so-
respect all, you know,
Yeah.
thoughts and
So I
beliefs.
could give you like a little explanation, like, well, how do we believe about Jesus' exclusivity? You know, the idea that he's the only way to heaven. What about those people that, you know, came before him?
Exactly.
And what about people that never heard of him? And so the Bible actually, it starts off with, you know, the whole story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden.
Exactly.
And
Which
it-
is kind of a myth too, right? Because there's no way you can prove that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I would say it's, as a Christian, I would say it's very, you know, like God is capable to create people that are fully formed,
Okay.
you know, out of dust if he
Okay.
wants. So I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
But the message of Adam and Eve would be that, you know, God put them in this garden. They were to take care of it. They had a close relationship with their Creator. And then he gives them one rule, you know, which is like, okay, was that fair? You know, but he gave them one rule. He's God and they're the Creator. You know, he's the creation, or they're the creation. He's the Creator. He has the right to give them a rule. Don't eat from this tree, right? So they eat from the tree, and all of a sudden it says their eyes were opened and they knew good from evil. And from that point on, there's a problem between them and the Creator. They go and hide. God comes after them, seeking them, you know, clothing them, showing them kindness. He's very gracious in doing that, but he says there's now a barrier between you and I, and you know, there's a curse, and so the relationship is broken. And it says that everybody from that point on basically now has a moral conscience. Like, we all know right from wrong, generally. You know, I mean, different people disagree on what's right and wrong, of course, but the idea that there is right and wrong, you know, that's where all people, that's what we all share. And so our common humanity is we all know there's right and wrong, and we all know we break it. Like, we don't even live up to our own standard of right and wrong. And so I would say, like, the Aztecs and other, you know, groups that have never heard of Christianity, they're still humans, you know, they're still made in God's image, and they still all have this sense of right and wrong, and they all break it. And so what Christianity is saying is we're all outside of a right relationship with our Creator, regardless of whether we've heard of Jesus or not. And so once we've heard of Jesus, let's go and tell others about him, right? And so that's, you know, so I feel like once a person has heard of Jesus and understands that he's the way to a right relationship with their Creator, then our obligation is to go and tell, you know. Now, I know a lot of, like, say, missionaries maybe were used by people who were using it for profit. So the, you know, like the conquistadors were trying, like they're operating in the name of the church, and
Exactly.
and yet they were looking for gold, and
Exactly.
so there's a lot of that mixed in,
Exactly.
and there's a lot of ugly
Exactly.
like baggage in history.
Exactly.
But so I wouldn't say anyone is innocent, because we all know right and wrong, and we break it. Now the other thing is, so like Jesus was born Jewish. He was born into a group of people that for generations, hundreds and hundreds of years, looked forward to a coming Messiah, like a savior.
Exactly.
And so there were people who, even before Jesus' time, believed in him. It's just that they believed in the Messiah to come,
Right.
like he's in the future.
Exactly.
And then the people that were with him believed in him. Here he is. We
Here's
believe
it
in
right
him.
Here, exactly.
And then he says, "Blessed is those who have not seen me and still believe." So in other words, I'm one of those who I haven't seen Jesus, but I see the witness of people from history, and so I believe in Jesus. When he came physically, it was in the past.
Sounds good. Yeah.
So it's kind of like we can all believe in Jesus, past, present, or future.
I do believe in his teachings for sure. I mean, I read the Bible, I read books about him, I read another philosophers talk about him, and he makes a lot of sense. He's
Yeah.
a great, smart, loving prophet. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just that. It's just my problem is with church putting him on a pedestal and asking me to kneel and pray. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a human being. It's a prophet. He's an enlightened person. But he was just, probably obviously way better than, the regular, kind of people that you will find in your life.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that I don't like to be told who to worship. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. It does get down to that. Like, would you say that? And I'll be the first to say this. If God had told me don't eat from that tree, I would say I want to eat from that tree.
Right, right. Well, that's how you learn,
like don't
you know?
tell me what and what not to do.
Right.
And so it's kind of like every time that we then since then it's not just about a tree, it's about following a lot of different rules that God has established.
Exactly.
And so every time that I break my moral conscience and do something I know I shouldn't do, it's almost like I'm eating from that tree all over again. So I can't say I'm innocent,
Right.
Definitely not,
Right.
As a matter of fact, the reason that I trust in Jesus so much is because I know I'm guilty and I can't save myself. I could never undo the guilt or the things I've done. But do you feel like
having you learned from your mistakes?
I do,
pretty much?
and
Exactly.
yeah, I
So
definitely.
I think that's the purpose. After all, it's like okay, if God tells you not to eat from that tree because it's a forbidden fruit, and you still go on your own and grab that apple and bite it, and then you get punished for the rest of your life. I don't see it that way. I see it's like okay, that's the way you grow, and that's the free will that God actually gives you to make your own mistakes and to learn.
Yeah. Do you think,
that's the way I guess.
Do you think if the like let's say that the Bible's true and the God of the universe somehow is here, would you bow down and worship him? If you know that he made you and he made everything, and
I do worship him. I worship him. I don't go to churches. I don't do I don't kneel and pray or anything. It just I do my best. I treat everybody with respect. I love nature.
So it's not like you're like dead set against worshiping God. So then if Jesus actually, if you found out that he really was, like God took human form, which is how the Bible puts it, and it actually says like if you want to know God, look at Jesus. Like he's the human form of God, in this earth, and
I see why. Yeah, I totally agree on that sentence. It's just for me, it's like he's not the person that came and died on a cross for my sins because I wasn't even born. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a different kind of view, but it's also I guess respectful of the Christianity and all other beliefs. I guess I don't mess with anybody. I don't damage anybody. I love my people. I worship nature more than and I know, as crazy as it sounds, nature is God.
Uh-huh.
For me, it's like there's actually a drawing that I just recently saw, like a guy, standing on the middle of on a beach or a forest or something, say, "Hey God, I want proof
Yeah.
you exist."
Yeah.
And then the sun sets in, and then the sun comes out, and then there's rain, and there's sun, and there's clouds, and there's rain and
beautiful,
stuff.
yeah.
And it's beautiful. You say, I'm still waiting. So what are you waiting for?
I've
That's exactly. That's
I've
the
actually
proof.
posted that very cartoon
Yeah,
on
it's
Facebook.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
It's like, you want evidence? Well, you just saw it. Why
Exactly.
why do you need more?
Exactly.
So, but you wouldn't worship. So like if if you look at it as a painting, and this beautiful earth is like the creation of an artist,
Exactly.
So God is like an artist.
Right.
I don't think you would worship their work as much as you would respect and admire the artist who did it. See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
could
the
be.
artist himself deserves the worship and the praise and the honor and the glory for what he's done.
Well,
We look at their work, and that's evidence of.
Right. Yeah, I see what you mean. However, so many artists. I'm not talking about God. I'm talking art in general.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Art is what when you admire art in some form. Let's say a painting. There
Uh-huh.
are so many painters that are pretty much assholes. Because
Yeah.
they feel that they are whatever. They feel superior than everybody else because they have talent.
Yeah.
And I don't worship painters.
Yeah.
I can recognize their paint,
Okay.
their painting. That's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
That's very true.
And I've been involved with a lot of artists in my life. Musicians and painters and that kind of people.
Uh-huh.
I know. Most of them are okay, but some of them are actually very full of themselves.
Yeah. Sure.
So I can recognize their talent. I can recognize, their book, their painting, their, music, whatever they created.
Yeah.
But I don't worship them.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get that. So, one of the things that I think is really important about the Bible to understand is when we look at God and how He's worked through history and how what it says about Him, a very difficult thing to understand, I think, is that God portrays Himself as a jealous God. So He says, "I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God."
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it almost sounds like, like when you said that, like some people are, I'll say, jerks.
Yeah, exactly.
Some artists are jerks.
Yeah.
It's almost like, if an artist made a really great creation and then was a jerk about it and thinking he's so full of himself,
Right.
we would think, well, who do you think you are? I mean, you got some special talents. That's sure, that's
Exactly.
great, but doesn't mean you have a right to, think the whole world revolves around you, right?
Exactly.
So if we think that about God, because I'm pretty sure, like you would say, and it's very easy to say, if God is jealous, that's kind of like a trite human emotion. That's kind of
Right.
like who does He think He is?
Exactly.
But the thing when we think that, if we come across a person who's jealous, and thinks that everyone should pay attention to them and wants all the attention and all the glory and all the honor, what we're going to do is we're going to say, who do you think you are? God? Right? But if God says that, like, I deserve all the glory and the honor, if we said that to Him, who do you think you are? God? He would say, yeah, I'm God.
Exactly. That-
So it's like, God does deserve the glory and the
He
honor.
does, but I don't think he needs it. I mean, he
doesn't
I don't
need
think
it.
He asked for it.
It's almost, so the way I understand it is from reading the Bible, is that He deserves it, and He has a sense of justice. So justice means you get what you deserve, right? So it's kind of like, just to kind of put it in like a real human terms, if we had like a really fancy $5 million or $500,000 car, just finely tuned, but it ran on, say, like jet fuel, and we put in gas or even water in the tank,
Yeah, you're right.
we would feel like Well, of course, it's not going to run right because it needs jet fuel. It needs what it was designed to need. So God made this world, and this is what the Bible would say, is that we as his creation need him. And we run, like God is like our fuel, kind of like our...
Yeah.
And so
For sure.
it seems wrong to try to substitute anything else for what it was designed to run on. So Adam and Eve in the very beginning, they had this relationship with God. Everything was good. It was very good, the Bible says. And so they were in a right relationship with God. And so when God's jealous, basically it's like saying you're trying to run on something that you weren't designed to run on. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay.
And so if God made all of this, he knows what's best for us. And when we don't choose the best, him, as self-centered that would be if it was a person saying that, but this is God saying that. And so then, yeah, God is jealous because we're not designed to run that way, if that makes sense. So
yeah, it makes a lot of sense, for sure. Yeah.
So
I've never seen it that way, but yeah, I think it makes sense.
And like I do have these conversations a lot, and a lot of like atheists and different people that don't believe in God are oftentimes very critical of the God of the Bible because they think of God like a person.
Yeah.
And they think, well, so for example, like, every day a lot of people are born, but a lot of people die. And God is overseeing all that, right? So this might sound hard to understand, but the thing that's wrong with murder, the Bible says don't commit murder, right? Well, if that's true, then how can God be in charge of all these people and they're dying every day? Like 120,000 people in the world die every day, something like that. Is God a murderer, right? Well, the thing that makes murder wrong is we're doing something that we don't have a right to do because we're just human beings. But if we were God, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Like he gives life and he takes life. He's God. He has a plan and designed us and knows best, what should happen. Now, I do think there's a lot of times people die and God grieves about it, but has a higher, it's kind of like there's a higher purpose to it. It's not all about one person, there's questions about like, where is God when, bad things happen, things like that. So somehow God has a bigger plan than what we're able to see.
Exactly.
And
that's what I said when I speak of free will,
Yeah.
Whereas your free will to do, either you take, that forbidden fruit or not, that's it's on you.
Yeah.
Even though God told you not to do it, well, it's on you. That's the way you learn.
Yeah.
That's the way you grow, which I think is the main, purpose of this life, to grow, to become more.
Like I would say, was it unfair for God to put, that rule that he knew we were going to break, right?
Right.
And if Adam and Eve hadn't broken it, well, I think someone would have along the way.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think I would have. So was it God's will that the rule get broken? And I actually think in some ways, that
Gives
there's
you free will, right?
there's a purpose to our free will that, like we can learn things and grow because and mature in ways that we never could have if it was a totally perfect world and there was no, like we learn through hardship.
Exactly.
And we learn through a lot of different things. So there is that sense, of God is bigger than we have free will, but God is even bigger than that. He has a bigger plan and purpose for it than we even realize.
Yeah. I think we agree on that.
Yeah.
At least, right?
Yeah.
I gotta get going. So
Sure. Yeah. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for.
I gave you my card.
Yes, I got
Yeah.
you. I'm gonna check it out.
And
thank you so much for.
So
your
I'll
time.
post it within a day or two.
All right.
And you can check it out.
All right.
And then I usually end up like thinking about our conversation, and I write some stuff about it. You'll see on all the other videos.
Absolutely. I'll check it out.
All right.
It was nice meeting you.
Great to meet you, Julio.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.